So little things which you need to know from the TypeScript if you are working with Angular. There is something called as optional parameters, right? You can say num1 is of type number. I have one parameter called as num1 is of type what? Number. Now I'm going to call say hi, and here I'm going to pass 89. Right? I'm going to pass what? 89. But I want to call say hi with or without 89. That can be there or that cannot be there. This thing is called as what? Optional. So add a question mark over here. See. Either you pass it or you don't pass it. Optional parameter. Getting that? Now there is another function. Function say hello. Here num1 is of type number. Say hello is of type what? Number. Now I'm going to call say hello. I have to pass the number. So this is called as optional param, and here I can say is equals to 80. This is called as default param. Optional param and what? So here if you don't pass anything, that would be undefined. Here if you don't pass anything, there would be what? Undefined. If you pass something, the num2 would be replaced by this. If you don't pass anything, that would be what? 80. Getting that? That would be what? 80. This is an optional parameter. This is a default parameter. Right? Well, in the classes, TypeScript allow you to have the access modifiers as well. What do you mean by access modifier? Private, public, protected. Default one is public. In the Angular, default one is what? Public. And if you make it private, this can be accessible only within the curly braces.
Within the class.
These two curly braces. Anywhere inside these two curly braces. You getting that? Protected within the inheritance. Child class can access this. And the private within the class only. Protected within the inheritance. Getting that? Well, you're not going to use this as well, right? But interfaces at the time of your life cycle you are going to use, and this, what you can say, optional, you would be using the frequently. Optional params and other things. Well, loops and other things are same. In the JS and TS, whatever loops we use in the JS, same loops are available in the TS. Right, everything from a JS is as it is available in the TS, is a superset. Everything from a JS is as it is useful in a TS. As it is. Okay. So let me jump to the CLI. Right. Let me jump to what? CLI. Make sure that you have installed CLI on your machine. It is also node package. Right? This is also what? Node package. Means which is coming from the npm registry. npm install /g add angular CLI. This is also a node package. Right. Now, if you want to create Angular project, what we can do? here I would like to create one folder, say Angular basic, right? And let me is 2 times, just rename the folder basic, and here open in containing folder Angular basic. Here I can open the terminal, and here I can say ng, just hit the ng and hit the enter. If you find a lot many things related to the ng, see it is giving you available commands, or ng, you can check the version, ng hyphen version, it will hyphen version, I think, ng hyphen version. See Angular CLI I have already installed 8.3.20, right? Then Node version is 13.2.0, OS is Linux x64, Angular, these are the package and their versions they have given. This is the Angular base things you need to have on your machine. Is a command line interface. Is what? And why you need command line interface? You need command line interface to create the basic infrastructure of the Angular project. If you want to create a project, there should be one command. If you want to create a, what you can say, if you want to create component modules, you need to have something which is sticking to the principle of Angulars. Right? Which is sticking to the principle of Angulars. And who does that thing? The CLI. CLI does that thing. Right, I have installed the CLI. Now let me create my very first project, ngg new. These are the commands, nggc, ngg application. We'll see over the period of time. But presently I want to create the project, ng new. Whatever it is, right? You can say my app, my hyphen app, and hit the enter. It will create the Angular workspace or Angular project. So it is saying that would you like to have a routing? I can say no.
What is routing?
We'll see that. Routers are there in Angular. mydomain.com/contact. Contact should be loaded. /home page would be loaded. /services page would be loaded.
So at the starting, where does it ask for routing? Because as of now, we are not creating such kind of pages.
Yes, but your final Angular project you will do, that would be in the routers only.
Okay, we can say yes.
Yes, at that time you can say yes. Right. And which CSS framework you would be using? You can say plain CSS, not stylus, not the SCSS, not the SAS or the less. Right, hit the enter. I would like to have CSS. Okay. So it will take a little time for project creation.
IoT issue solved, sir? Yesterday.
No. Need some time to solve that issue. It will take little bit time, Angular.
IoT issue also.
Yeah, that is pending. So let me close all these things. It will take little time. Is your lunch? 1 o'clock. It will take a little time. Okay, it's done. It's done now. Now your Angular project is created. Go to the Angular basics, right? Go to the Angular basics, and inside that, my app, my app has been created. And inside my app, you can find lot many things are there. If you go here, my app, see these many files are there, right? So go here and search Angular project structure. Angular project structure. These many files they have written over here. Each and every file they have explained. Lint. TS lint is nothing but the grammar of your coding. How many lines of column width you need to have. Semicolons are needed or not needed. Right? Single quotes or double quotes. White spaces. Everything can be managed over here. Right? You need to have explicit any's or not. Any type. No empty false. No inferable types true. Right? No non-null assertions true. All these things related to the grammar of your code that are here. TS config is nothing but the TypeScript configuration.
So it's by default, let's say if I change something in the link.
Fine, you can. It would be affected to your compiler. Right? TS config, that is a TypeScript configuration. This is what? TypeScript configuration. Means compilation on save, false. Compile on save. Every save, do you want to compile the code? You have said false. No. Right. Where you are going to store the source map. Out dir means under the disk there is out tsc. Means the output from the TypeScript it has generated what? JS. Where to store that JS file? In the out tsc. Source map is nothing but that mapping of the source code to the TypeScript source. You want to do that? Yes. Because when I run the project, there is one option called as source map. In that, I'll show you. Just run the project. cd my app, npm start. We'll see what is this npm start. I'll explain you. Then it's running. Okay. Go to the localhost 4200. It will run the Angular application. Right click, inspect. Right click and what? Inspect. And then you can go to the sources. Can you see here? Main.js is there. This is there. This is there. Then Augury. Augury is having its own code. Something. Source. Inside the source, you have this thing. Now, what I want to do, you go here. Just hold on. I need to take you to the. Okay, just a moment. So I'll go in the app, in the component TS, and in the constructor, I'll write the constructor. And inside constructor, console.log, here you can say hi. Hi. Okay. So here you can go, and there is a log, right? Hi is coming from app component TS. You go here. Can you see? In the browser, it is showing you your TypeScript code. This is because of the source map. But on the production mode, this will not work. This will work only on the dev mode. On the production, you cannot see the source code. All the source code is the uglified one. Right. So index.js is there. Component.ts is there. Inside the index only, you will find component.ts. From where it is coming? Source map. That's what they are telling you. Right. That's the meaning of what you can say source map is. Let me close this. So tsconfig is most of the time related to the TypeScript configuration. There are many parameters you can configure with the TypeScript, and all these are written over here. Very much rarely you need to change this thing. Right? Very much rarely you need to change this thing. Otherwise you don't need to touch these files. These are the high level configuration files. Now they have divided TypeScript configuration for app and this for the spec. App is nothing but the application. Spec is nothing but for what? Specifications. Testing. Which is nothing but what you can say unit testing. So specs files are for what? Unit testing. So the TypeScript configuration is little bit different for the specification and little bit different for the application. Sometimes, not all the times. But still you don't need to touch these files. Then there comes something called as package.json. And what it does? Your Angular project is a node project. Your Angular project is what? Node project. So package.json is coming from what? Node conventions. So every file, package.json, what it defines, what is the name of my application, what is the current version of my application, right? How many scripts are there? Can you see we have used the npm space start. If you have a package, that package should give you some feasibility to run the scripts. For starting, if you want to start your project, if you are from the PHP background, you need to write one command. If you are a Java developer, you need to write one command. But Angular node says that instead of going to the root command, give me some abstracted commands. npm start, that's it. And internally, ng we have seen, once we have installed the Angular, right, then ng package has been installed on your machine. Getting that thing? ng package has been installed on your machine. So you are saying that npm space start is mapped with ngserve, which is the actual command. So abstraction of actual command can be done by means of the scripts. Getting that thing? These are the commands only, but can be run by means of npm start. Okay. Then about this package, this is a private or public, you can say here. Now there are two things, dependencies and the dev dependencies. What are the dependencies? Yes. So these libraries would be included in your final deployment. At the time of building the project, these libraries would be considered. Getting that? That would be bundled together. But the dev dependencies are limited to the developer's machine. Can you see? That's why TypeScript is what? Dev dependency. That will not go on the production.
Okay, we are locally working.
Dev, not locally. In the locally also, that will not go in the browser.
Okay.
These are the helping tools. See, karma, there is no concern with the browser and the karma. That should be on the dev machine. Getting that? So these are the dev dependencies. Remember that dependencies and dev dependencies are clearly different. Right. README is about what you can say, your node decoration file. It will tell you about the GitHub repository. All these things you will find over here. github.com. Whatever you can see here, that is the README. Go to the Angular basic. And can you see Angular basic? Which file it is rendering? It is rendering readme.md. So whatever you write in a readme.md, all that would be on the Git page. When you open your repository, whatever you can see, that would be from the Git page. Fine. Karma config, this is related to the testing file. Browser list is nothing but which browser should support the system. That is coming from the browser list. So this says that I am running on these many browsers. Right, remember that browser list is about that. So git ignore we have discussed, and the angular.json is a heart file. Angular.json. So this file will give you the schematics, how your project structure would be. See, how many projects are there inside this workspace. Remember that you are using Angular 8. What you are using? Angular 8. Angular 7 has come up with the concept of workspace. One Angular workspace can have independently executable Angular projects, multiple Angular projects, independently executable. Right? Multiple Angular projects are there. Then presently how many projects are there? One my app is there. Well, my app is a default project. Now what my app would be having? What is the project type? Application. What is the source root? Source. Prefix, you will get to know. What is the prefix? App hyphen my component, app hyphen navbar. So that is nothing but what this prefix is. Getting that? Then here you can say output path under the dist my app would be the folder, and into that your build would be getting saved. What is the index file? Under the source index.html is there. Under the main ts is there. Polyfills source polyfills.ts is there. tsconfig.app.json, something like this, right? Then assets are nothing but the files that are going to be rendered. Asset is a folder. Into that folder you are going to put the assets. Means your mp3s are there, pdfs are there, images are there. You can put under the asset folder, right? Style.css is there, global style, right? And configurations and other lot many things this file is having. Generally you don't need to touch this file until you know well what you are doing, right? You can do that in a style.css import. You can import it. Otherwise style.css is anyway going to be imported, and css3 has given you functionality of importing the third party styles. You can import in that style, right? Git ignore we know. These files never uploaded to the GitHub, right? Editor config. This is related to your editor. Root is what? Charset is UTF-8. Intent style space. Intent size 2. Right? 2 spaces it is going to leave, something like that. UTF-8 means if you copy paste Hindi as well over here, that will also display. Unicode transmission format is a UTF. Right? Fine. So important one is the execution of the project. What things exactly happening? When you hit localhost 4200. When you hit what? Localhost 4200. What is happening exactly? See, it is coming to the index.js. I'll show you. See, index.js is getting rendered in the browser, and into the index.js there is a runtime JS, there is a polyfills JS, there is a styles JS, there is a vendor JS, and there is a main JS. All the things you need, all the things you have written, that would be inside what? Main.js. Getting that? Whatever you write the code, that will go inside main.js. Okay. So if you map the JS and the TypeScript, right, from the main.js, first file is going to load, that is nothing but your, what you can say, module file. Sorry, first file would be main.ts, this file. Index.html. From the index.html, it is going to internally enter into what? Main.ts. Right? So it will check if production mode is there and whatever, blah blah blah, lot many things. And it will find what is the starting module. Bootstrap. Do not get confused with the CSS framework. This is the launching module, first module, root module, right? So platform browser dynamic dot bootstrap module. Bootstrapping module means what? What is the launching module? So it will understand the launching module, which is nothing but what? App module. Right? Main TS, a normal TypeScript file. But the moment you enter this thing, you'll get all these things. You'll get something like this. If I delete this, this is a plain TypeScript class. Nothing fancy in this. This is a plain exported TypeScript class. But the moment you attach this, this is also nothing fancy. This is also not a fancy thing. Right? This thing in the TypeScript is called as decorator. Some code that you shouldn't write, that should be generated internally. Yeah, by these decorators. Right? There is some code that is not expected to be written by you.
That would be customized too or not? Let's say if I just want to write my own decorator that
You can write. You can write your custom decorators.
everything is not inbuilt.
Yeah.
I'm looking for some functionality.
Yeah, you can write.
So I just combine that code.
Code, yeah, absolutely. You can write your custom decorators. Not an issue. Likewise, you like custom annotations in Java.
Yes, annotate before, suit after.
Yeah. You can write your own. That's not an issue. And see, the ng module is accepting JavaScript object. What this is accepting over here? JavaScript object. If I say Control Z, what is this? This is nothing but the JavaScript object. If I write something like this, let obj is equals to this JavaScript object. This JavaScript object, right? So JavaScript object is having array. Declaration is a key whose type is what? Array. Imports is a key whose type is what? Array. Again, provider is a key whose type is what? Array. Again, bootstrap is a key whose type is what? Array. Right. So I can pass this obj over here. One and same. Getting that? This is one and same. Either you pass direct value or you can pass reference variable. Getting that? But technically this is JavaScript object. Technically this is what? JavaScript object of type object. We have seen this in the TS. Obj is of type what? Object, and which is fulfilling all these things. And you have passed this obj over here. So ng module does internal calculations and it creates some code that you shouldn't be writing deliberately. You should focus on the business logic. Right? And that's why you are using a framework. Otherwise, go with the jQuery if you want to do everything on your own. Vanilla.js. Do everything on your own. From the DOM to creating boilerplate code to testing, write everything on your own.
No else.
Yes, if you want to do from the scratch. Right. Then from this module, root module, it gets what is the root component. See this. Well, Angular is the hierarchy of the components. Top component is there. I'll show you Angular website only. You can go to the angular.io, right? Then inspect it. Can you see this? In a body, there is something called as AIO shell, Angular IO shell, custom component. Angular IO shell. Inside Angular IO shell, you will find mat toolbar, hierarchy. Top is root. Inside that root, there are two more. Under the mat toolbar, there is something called as mat toolbar row. There is something called as mat side nav container. Getting that? Inside the mat side nav content, you have AIO mode banner, AIO doc viewer. Hierarchy of the components. Different custom components have cascaded. See this. Getting that? In a same thing, module gives you what is a root component, who is a parent. Once you get a parent, you can get all the children. So here you are saying, my root is app component presently. An app component may have different other components that we have seen, right? So main index.html, main TS, app module TS, app component TS. And then hierarchy is maintained. Getting that? Right. So if you want to integrate third-party CSS, here you can import. Here you can import. Right, here you can import that CSS. Bootstrap, yeah. We have integrated the Bootstrap.
Where install the Bootstrap and set the path here.
Yes.
So that would be the class project level.
Huh.
Workspace level.
Workspace level.
Workspace level.
Yeah.
आपण त्या CDN टाकू शकतो का इथं?
CDN,
ज्या असतात online त्या
JS,
CSS.
CSS you can do anything. You can import anything from the URL import, but don't go with the CDN. What if CDN source has been removed? Right? NPM install in your local project and then give path of that.
Because everything you are fetching from the server.
Yes, and what if your application is working offline? There is no internet.
That is a drawback. So better you download the library.
Yes, download the libraries and put under the node modules. Right. I hope the revision is good. Right? So on the next weekend, we will continue our regular lecture about the component. What is our regular lecture?
Intercommunication between components would be, I think, would be the next class.
Yeah. Intercomponent communication would be the next class.
Data binding we are done with the two ways.
Yeah.
Two-way, okay. So two components we are going to communicate on the next weekend.
We will design two components that interact with each other.
Yeah.
We have that file from the one component from the second file from the second component.
Progress bar we have taken?
Yes.
Okay.
Progress.
In a one component only.
In a one component.
Now what we are going to do, I am going to create multiple components, different components. Same progress bar. A bar would be in a separate component, buttons would be in a separate components, and that two need to communicate with each other.
You would integrate.
We will dismantle the components. Fine? Thank you. We'll call for the day and we'll meet. I'm comfortable with 9, I'm comfortable with 11. You tell me. 9 is okay?
Yes, good.
You have any
Yeah,
concern?
no problem with mine.
Okay, fine.